because this is a research writing class, we are going to practice and be introduced to different types of research. And so I have compiled this module with a lot of tips and tutorials on research, a lot of guides to research in general. Right through here, I have some pages that include some really good videos on using library databases and guiding us through the Buxton Online Library, kind of navigating the search engines and the databases there. Right now, for this video, I want to focus on online sources because the project we are working on right now allows for online sources, which a lot of college research does not. But this one does, since our audience, our intended audience, is they're more apt to appreciate online sources as evidence. And so here I've got some handouts. I have some really good videos on evaluating online sources. I'm going to only open one right now just to offer a foundation of what to look for when we're evaluating whether an online source is credible or not, or whether it meets the caliber of information expected at this level of college research. And then I'm going to go and pull up some examples. I think that would be the best for right now. And so this is just an infographic. Look this over because it offers a checklist of things that we need to look for as we assess whether a website or a source that we find online is credible. Because remember, our credibility as researchers and writers, and even the credibility of our argument, is dependent upon the credibility of the sources that we bring in. If we bring in really strong voices, really strong experts in the field, then that's going to boost our credibility to our audience. If we bring in a lot of anonymous pieces of bullet point writings or blogs or, types of sources that really aren't that credible, then that's going to undermine our credibility. So some things to look for. First of all, who wrote it? Look for the author. Are they experts in the field? Is it a legitimate and reputable organization? Make sure you can see who that author is. If there's no author, that's a little red flag. So you might want to double check, but make sure the author is credible. Look for the dates and the relevance. Is everything up to date? Okay, or was it written, 20 years ago? I guess the internet was up 30 years ago. But look at the relevance and the accuracy. Look at the spelling. Look at how it's written. Is it written professionally? Okay. This is another big one, the purpose and objectivity. Is this website trying to sell you something? Do they profit by convincing you that their opinion is legitimate? If so, then they are biased. Simply having an opinion is not bias. Simply arguing an opinion is not bias. But when somebody has financial gain or some kind of power or any other kind of gain that is dependent on you buying their product, whether their product is a thing or an idea, then they are biased. So look at that. Look at the ads that pop up. Okay, that's another red sign. If there's a whole lot of ads popping up, it's not going to be a really great site. But look over those things. Look at the links and look at the domain and all of those things. But look at these sources very critically. Make sure that the author is a credible voice that you want backing you up. Okay, so let's look at a few examples that I have here. And these are examples of sources that I've seen students use. Okay, the first few are things like this, Quora. Okay, Quora is it's basically a chat room, okay, where people can get together and just anyone can post, anyone can write anything. This is pretty far from credible as far as research goes as you can get. Okay, do not do anything that is open domain like this. Okay, now I should have mentioned this before. All of these sources that I'm pulling up, I wanted them to relate to one another. And so they're all about college student food insecurity, because that's an issue. That's a common issue among college students. And so any kind of open domain, and I'm talking Wikipedia also. Wikipedia is another open domain where any platform or website where anyone can write it, anyone can edit it. And so it is not considered credible. Now, if you go down on the bottom of Wikipedia page to their sources, you might be able to find some really great sources that you could use. But Wikipedia on its own, never use that as a source, ever. Unless your professor asks you to, okay? Another one that I see quite often are LinkedIn articles. Now, LinkedIn articles are written by people on LinkedIn who are trying to promote themselves or promote their ideas, okay? Some of them can be, legit, as far as the person's credentials. However, the whole platform of itself, LinkedIn, is a site where you're trying to network, where you're trying to sell yourself. So it is not considered a credible source for supportive voices or experts in the field that you want to use backing up your arguments, your points. If you find somebody has written something that's interesting, look them up and see if they've actually published something. That's going to be more credible, or if they have a more credible website besides the LinkedIn. Another site that has been presented as evidence is Medium. So Medium and Substack and different open platform writing opportunities. There are some people who write them that are credible, but most of the people who write these are just people who just like writing and who self-publish their articles. In fact, our final project in this class, we are going to write a Medium article. So anyone can write it. So this person who wrote this, Zara Said, I enjoy writing articles related to food insecurity, social justice, and other issues. And so it's just one follower. And so this is not a credible source. This is not a source that meets the caliber expected in college research. It's just anyone. It's just someone wrote an article, but they don't have any credentials behind their name. Let's look at another one. All right. This is Food Insecurity on College Campuses. It's Health Affairs Forefront. Okay, and if we look at this I'll tell you right up front, this is a credible source. And let's see why. Okay, there's a whole lot of authors on this. It's fairly recent. It's just been written within the last few years. And it is, let's see. And honestly, this is the type of source, when you find this type of source, it's a gold mine. Because when you find sources like this, and you start checking the links, and if they go to other credible sources, then you're finding several sources that you might be able to use. So this one goes to the USDA. Let's see, another one, prior to the pandemic, a staggering 30% of all college students. This one goes to Hunger on Campus. So this is, let's see, it's credible. I can't remember who published it, but it goes to that report. And if you look through here, a lot of great links to other research, other types of credible research. But one of the most important things you can do is go down here to the About page. Click on the About page to see who wrote this and what is the goal. If we read this is Health Affairs is the leading journal of health policy, thought, and research. The peer-reviewed journal was founded in 1981. So this is a peer-reviewed journal. It happens to be open and on the internet rather than behind a paywall, which is wonderful. But this is the most credible type of research that you could use to back up your claims. So that's a good one. Let's look at another one. Oh, that's what I just opened. I'm opening. There we go. Let's look at this one. 8 ways to help people who are food insecure. The United Way. Now, United Way is a credible organization, right? It's a wonderful organization. But this is the type of online website that is most common, where it's just a little collection of tips. In fact, if you see a number in the title, consider that a huge warning sign, like top 10 ways, the social media can harm our self-esteem. Anytime there is a number in the title, sure enough, it's just going to be a list of little tips. Okay, and this is great if you're just looking personally and want to find some information, that's great. But for college research, no, this is not the type of site we want to use. Let's look at one more. Okay, Feeding America, College Student Hunger Statistics and Research. So Feeding America is a good organization. This is, if we look at this, it looks legitimate. The problem is it's so incredibly short. And that's kind of like, what's happening here? You need to think about that, because you don't want to find a bunch of short articles. That's going to, come back and bite you in the end. You want stuff that you can work with and a lot of information that you can sift through. But if we look at this and if we read it closely, this is a little preview to a research report. Okay. It includes a few snippets of highlights, but it's only a preview of a research report. If you come upon this type of source, go for the mother lode. Go for the actual report. Right here, they've got it highlighted right here. So I wouldn't, and this has a little bit of information, but it's really out of context. I would not use this type of source for college research. I would click right here and see, hopefully it takes you to the actual report. And if you look right here, yes, full report, it's going to bring you down to the bottom of this summary. And there's the full report right there. Boom. Okay. This is what you want. This is what you want to refer to in backing up your arguments. Okay. So hopefully, I know this is quick, but hopefully this gave you a little bit of an idea of how to sift through some of the stuff you're going to find online.